Welcome back to Another Triathlon Podcast brought to you by Mana Apparel. I'm Jenna, and joined as always by Josh and Fede, and we're going to get into everything going on in the triathlon world, as well as do a couple race recaps of our own. We had myself and Josh racing over the last couple weeks, and if you're watching on the weekend, there was a ton of triathlon going on between Ironman 70.3 and SuperTri jumping into the mix as well, and we will dive into it all. But first, let's get started by saying hi to the crew and say, Fede, how are you doing these days?
Yeah, hey guys. No, I'm surrounded by rock stars this week. Well, every single week, but this week I'm just going to be a fly on the wall and listen to your race recaps because there was a lot of racing happening, and you two raced and have incredible races. So just excited to hear what was going on and to dissect you guys' races. So yeah. But I'm just doing the same old boring stuff, biking, swimming, running. I haven't taken up the fins and the paddles this week, which I should. But when I do, it feels like I'm swimming in maple syrup. So no, I'm not willing to do that just yet. But yeah. I'm having a bit of a lower back issue right now, which I don't know what's going on. I don't know if it's a bike position or I did something wrong, but like there are certain movements that I do that hurt. But once I get going, the pain goes away, which is probably something you shouldn't do. Just doing that right now.
What do you have on the calendar for your next race?
I have New York, so we have New York. You and me, Josh. Obviously, talked to you about my race cancellation, but I'm trying to lock in a few Olympic distances before that. And probably this year is a bit of a rebuild sort of year. And not as much racing other than New York and a few local Olympic distances here and there. Maybe a half at the end of the year or Ironman, Cozumel. We'll see if the body it's feeling ready and the mind is feeling also ready to handle the heat and the pain and the suffering and the last hour of racing, which we know all suck. But
you will be run ready. I mean, you're gonna have the marathon training under your belt.
I would definitely be run ready, and Cozumel is a fast swim. You can just lay there and take the current take you, which that's what we need. So if you want a fast Ironman swim, Ironman Cozumel, it's your probably best option because everybody I've done that race once, and I think I wasn't swim fit. Like I think I swam twice a week for like 3 months, and I swam like a 55 or something just by floating away. So yeah.
You know what? I wasn't thinking about Cozumel, but now that you mentioned that, I haven't done any flat or fast courses and downstream swim.
And
Cozumel point ocean swim with the current.
Yeah.
Salt water.
Perfect.
Yeah, Jenna loves Cozumel and Cozumel loves Jenna. That year we had camp over there. I think they got along really well. Yes.
No, that'd be, I was a no, but now I'm starting to think about it.
Now it's a maybe.
Now it's a maybe.
Well, Fed, another option for you, if you can pop up to Chicago next month, you can hop in the Olympic distance with a whole bunch of Mana teammates there at the SuperTri Chicago Triathlon.
That's an Olympic, right?
Yeah, so there's a super sprint, and an Olympic. So some people do all three, some people do one or the other. But yeah, the Olympics kind of like the big one with the pros racing on Saturday, the Olympics on Sunday.
Is it a draft legal Olympic distance for the age groupers or non-draft?
So I don't believe so here. In Toronto, we actually had a wave that was wetsuit not legal and draft legal. So yeah. That was but that was for like the Canadian National Championship wave. But yeah, Chicago, I believe, is all USAT non-draft.
Gotcha. That'd be cool.
That'd be fun. Well, Josh, why don't you tell us about how things are going in your world? You had a goal achieved, we'll say, about a week ago.
Ticked a few boxes a couple weeks ago. Yeah. Yeah, just over a week ago, I was out in Oregon. We had just interviewed Scott Deroux and kind of said I was looking forward to doing this race. And I think when we originally started talking about it, it was my race goal to get under 5 hours. And then as closer we got to it coming out of Oceanside and the training that I was doing, going well, staying healthy, it was like, okay, well, how low can we go? And is 4:45 an option? And then I got out there and I did the practice swim twice, literally swam the exact course twice and did it in 22:30 both times. And I was like, okay, so 4:45's in play for sure. We just need to make sure the bike's dialed. And for the first time ever, I didn't have a perfect travel experience with my bike. I got it all set up. It seemed pretty all right, but I wanted to make sure I had everything torqued correctly with the new behind the saddle hydration system I put on. So I brought it to the bike shop. Hey, can you guys just torque this? And I went to go pick it up the next morning, and they're like, yeah, you need to get a new derailleur. Their derailleur's completely bent. So luckily that I did bring it to the bike shop to do all those things. Like, it seemed like it was working and riding, and I might not have noticed it until it was too late. So always take your bike if you're building things and you're not exactly sure what you're doing to the local bike shop or mechanic on staff at the event. But yeah, they popped a new one in. They had one in stock, exactly what I needed, and had to lose my oversized pulley system. So they cut the chain a little bit, matched it back up, and everything was dialed in there. Did a nice little shakeout ride, 2 shakeout rides on the run course. So I did a little run course recon while I was on my bike and did my last shakeout ride with strides, and man, everything felt good. Like literally, it was just me. I didn't. My roommate who was supposed to join me didn't end up showing up. He couldn't race because he wasn't feeling good. So I had this Airbnb all to myself. No time schedule. Really, there was only a few of us from Mana there, and I was helping another teammate out, getting her back and forth from her Airbnb to the event. So it was really just like the two of us coordinating our schedules and in bed early, like out in this beautiful fresh air, forest, and next thing you know, like I know we can't rely on our whoop scores and all these things, but all of a sudden it went from like 40s and 50s and 60s recoveries to literally 98, 97, 98, 93 the 4 days, including the day of the race. Sleep scores were all like 100%, no sleep dead. I mean, everything was just maxed out. The Garmin was telling me peaking, like,
wow.
It was as good of a lead up as you could get. And with that swim to start, the only thing there is you got to get there early. And I had dinner with Brad and Arturo the night before, and we kind of came up with a plan in transition to meet up around 5:35, 5:40 and begin our walk to the swim start, which was at 6:15. But it's a 1.4 mile walk to the swim start from transition. And you get to a certain point, if you're too early, they actually stop it. And before you go over that big taco looking bridge, at a certain point. So we got the national anthem, we got to that line, and we were probably within the first 200 people out of a couple thousand, exactly where we wanted to be. So even that went well. Like we got to transition at 5. We were together at 5:40 on our walk and passed a few people and got up to where we needed to go. And I think really the only people in front of us were the Ironman Foundation team and the Nirvana people, and then a few other regular athletes. So checked a box there. We just wanted to get in and get on a clean bike course because it can get pretty congested as you leave transition. Going through town, there's a few turns through a neighborhood, and then you're out on these river roads, and it's just absolutely spectacular. And I actually got in my car because I had nothing to do and drove the entire bike course one night. So I did some recon there out into the countryside and through the vineyards and farms, and absolutely gorgeous. But I knew the course a little bit more than I had originally, and knew where I could make up some time where people might sit up and I wouldn't. So just kind of, man, it felt like one of the things my coach said to me before the race was like, hey, you're no longer an age grouper. You're now an elite age grouper, and you need to treat it like that and prepare like that and race like that, because that's where you've gotten yourself to. And being in the early swim allowed me to get out and ride with people I've never ridden before in a race, and actually ride and watch and get in a legal draft zone and push. And when I was on my own, I was pushing 220 plus watts. When I was riding with others, it was 180, 190 watts. And what a huge difference it made, because I wasn't losing any speed. I think my tick box was there, like 23 miles an hour was the goal, knowing there was a little bit of a tailwind going out, and was about 24-ish going out and just under 23 coming back. I rode the first day at 8 minutes after the turnaround alone. And it's like, it was a start of a tailwind. So I was like, all right, great. This is awesome. And then as soon as you turn the corner, headed back into this headwind, which wasn't strong, but it was noticeable. I mean, you could see it in your watts and your speed. It's like, I'm pushing more watts and going 20 miles an hour right now, when I was going 24 with this on the way out. Feeling good. Nutrition was great. The new hydration system was great. Didn't lose any bottles. And 8 miles into that comeback, so mile 36-ish, all of a sudden I could hear the disc wheels coming, and it was a train of 7 guys flying by me. And I literally said, "Where the F have you guys been?" out loud. and hopped on the back legally and worked with the 7 of them for a little bit. And then there ended up being like 3 of us on our way into town. But I didn't grab any numbers and stuff, but man, these people were riding wheel to wheel. And it was, trying to hang on to the back of that is not easy, doing it legally, but it certainly helped, because I could feel in that headwind it was going to struggle to get home at 23 miles an hour. And I think I ended up coming in at 22.9 and really pushed it hard. And felt like I was going to have some good run legs though, because I had, and the temperature was ideal. It was like 97, 95 all week. And then all of a sudden it dropped a little bit on Saturday. And then Sunday it might not even hit 70 by the time I'm done with the early start. I was going to hope to finish around 11 o'clock. So it was, everything just kind of went my way, and got on the run and had a little bit of a hamstring cramp coming on. I just knew, like, and I think I ran like a 7:15 first mile. So kind of around where I wanted to be, a little above that. But I knew if I had gone a little harder, it was going to catch up to me. But I had a preloaded soft flask with a ton of carbs and sodium. And by mile 4 or 5, got that completely down and was able to negative split it from there and finish with some sub-7 pace. And was able to pass a lot of people who had passed me early on. And I could hear them huffing and puffing. And it's like, wait a second, he might be my age, but it doesn't even matter. I need to pass everyone in front of me that's a male in the 70.3 world with the new age group thing. And wow, there were a lot of 50 plus year olds on that race course that day.
Crazy.
That were flying. I think if I was 50, I would have finished 13th in my age group. But in my age group that day, I ended up finishing 4th, which at the end of the day is a podium in my first podium. But thankfully, I wasn't 3 years older on that day, and it was what a way to get on the podium, and then literally see a guy look up his number in the award ceremony area, and then ended up spending time with this guy. He's been racing, and I was like, "So, what do you do for work?" And he's like, "Oh, I'm retired." I was like, "You and every other 50 plus year old that's here, and this is what we're competing against." And man, those age adjusted times really jumped. I think they had like 30 or 40 guys at the top of the overall adjusted list, and even the kid who won the whole thing was like 43rd, and he was sub 4 hours, but he was in.
Jeez.
So the age adjustments, it's going to change each race. It all depends on which age groups show up, right? And if you have a younger field, then you 40-year-olds and 45-year-olds have a chance. If you start getting those 50-plus-year-olds stacked there with some speed, it's going to get difficult. Now, whether or not they take their slots or not, people need to start to realize you got to show up. And on our side, I think I went from 95th or 97th overall to 71st in the age adjustment. And it dropped all the way down to 132nd.
Oh, wow.
So it was a big drop on the men's side. On the women's side, it actually felt like it was going to drop further. And it ended up only going down to 73 or 74. And I think one of the other monopodium female was like 75 or 76. She was like one slot away from getting there. But I mean, the message there is you got to show up, because a lot of these 50-plus-year-olds, yeah, they have the money and stuff to go, but maybe they've already been to Nice, or maybe they don't want to go to Nice, or this race is in Oregon. How easy is it for somebody to get to Nice if they're a local? Whereas for me, never been in the worlds, living in the East Coast, it's a lot easier to get to France. So you're certainly going to see a lot of 18 plus kids not always taking their slots because it's an expensive trip. I can validate how expensive it is now, and I'm sure Jenna can too, as well get to
My God.
just to get there. So haven't even looked at hotels or flights yet, but we're 13, 14 months away from 70.3 Worlds in Nice, which I punched my ticket to. And man, just getting on the podium and being up there and being a part of the award ceremony, and not just kind of cheering for my friends, but actually knowing that my name was going to get called was really neat. It was a really emotional day. I think if anyone saw the reel I did right after the race, it was I was there on my own. I wasn't there with my wife for the first time, and a lot of sacrifices went into getting there. And it was it all kind of hit when you realize how much work you put in, and 40 minutes is a lot, even if it is a downriver dam swim. So I'm pretty proud of that, because I PR'd that bike, and I mean, a sub 230 bike for me was like, okay, that wasn't easy. That was a lot of work to get there. And I'll tell you, it's like a trainer ride on that course. You are literally on the pedals the entire time. So people can say flat and rolling is a nice fast course. I was like, that's great. It can be fast, but you better push the whole time, because you can't coast. There's no descents. There's no yeah. I think I was off the pedals maybe a minute or 2 minutes tops, and the rest I was pushing. So that was a really good test. And then the run course, we were lucky with the weather. But I also felt like I feel like I can gain a lot more than some people because of the work I do in terms of being a sponge and asking the right questions and doing the right things when it comes to nutrition and strategy. And a lot of those people that passed me early on in the run bunked and didn't have it. And like, even in the video I got from Ironman yesterday, like you can see like 2 of the videos, I'm like actually taking a drink and carrying my nerd belt or my soft flask that I had. And I knew I could control the conditions, because thank God, because I didn't find any calf gels on the course. I grabbed one Morton gel and the water from the aid stations, because that's all I needed. And just that little bit of extra time and preparation allowed me to fight off the cramps and then push a really good half marathon. And the course is beautiful. The atmosphere, the venue, the community, everyone, I highly recommend doing that race. And I know it sells out quickly. So when it does drop in the next couple of weeks, jump on it, because it's a really fun one. Glad I went out there a day early and really took advantage of this race being an important one. So now it's on to Chicago, and did my first 1K over unders yesterday, and we're going to have to change my paces because I'm already hitting speeds that I didn't think we'd be hitting. So looking forward to this run.
That's awesome. No, it sounds like an incredible experience, and congratulations on smashing your goal, absolutely obliterating sub 5. And with those kind of times, even with a downriver swim, without a downriver swim, you would have definitely been sub 5 anyway. So that is wicked to see, and glad you had such a great experience with it and got that Nice qualification.
I appreciate it. Thank you guys for sticking with me and pushing me to keep going. So it's been fun, and I appreciate all you guys have done. And meanwhile, I'm up in Canada for work. I was home for like 16 hours. And then I look, and there's Jenna flying from Canada to Maine, literally up the street. The race I did and got on my first podium in the relay last year. And there she is up there with the whole Mana crew getting ready to race. And I think that went pretty well too.
Yeah, you know what though? Hearing you talk, I think I had about the exact opposite race experience and lead. No, it was so much fun. So we had, I don't even know where this came up, but I was told that I had accommodations sorted at this race, and I didn't know quite what, where, why, how, but a bunch of the team was going, and we were going to be staying together. And found out at the Boulder camp, one of our awesome team members, David Watts, he opened up his home to a bunch of us, and man, we were so spoiled. There was three, four, five of us in there. And oh my God, him and his wife were incredible. We all had our rooms. He like etched these wooden little coasters with like the race logo on there, our names, like the just such a cool little memento that he
The
created.
sturgeon.
Sturgeon became this whole conversation. I'll tell you guys about that one there. But no, it was so cool. It was kind of like the Boulder camp where it felt like summer camp again. We're all hanging out together. His wife was absolutely incredible. She made every single meal for us. We like woke up to these elaborate breakfasts and stuff with everything on there, lunches and dinners. Just we were so ridiculously spoiled. It was amazing. But yeah, with a lot of people in the house, obviously everyone's got their schedules and things going on. And then Rod and Philip from the Mana team, they're running the expo as well. So a lot of fun and hanging out with the team, but a lot less sleep than I would usually get going into a race and a lot going on. So I was going the opposite way. My sleep scores were kind of and my recovery scores were great. But it's definitely worth it for the fun of just getting that time with the team and being able to just geek out on triathlon. Like there's so rarely an occasion where you spend a few days with people where if you say I just did a 5-hour bike ride, they don't look at you like you're absolutely insane. They're like, oh sweet, what were your watts? How many calories did you take in? Like we're all
Did you do a run off the bike?
Exactly. Yeah. No, we did a few rides around together. David showed us kind of some routes to kind of do the taper rides, and we all figured out the race logistics. He had done it a bunch of times, so he knew exactly when, where, what, which just takes a lot of the mental energy out of it because he knew this race inside and out. He's done every edition since it started, so that was very, very cool to have. And the guys were at the expo most days. We did a little help setting that up and just interacting with some of the people there. But the course for this one, oh my goodness, that first, it starts at 6 a.m., has kind of that same thing where you have to walk over a mile to get from transition to the race start. And their 6 a.m. starts are just mean, especially when traveling from like west to east.
No.
East to west is no problem at all.
It's like 3 a.m. wake up for the race.
My
But that's
God.
like 1 a.m. my time.
Yeah.
So I was just like, oh my God. But again, David's wife was incredible. She woke up before us to make coffee and breakfast and have everything ready before we got up, which was just, oh my goodness, unreal.
Amazing.
But yeah, we had the walk down, and completely opposite to yours, that course is not flat by any means.
No.
I'm bad for not looking at courses like at all. It was all a lot hillier than I thought it was.
Especially swim exit alone.
Yeah, that's a legit, like you're running all the way up out of there and you're just like, okay, heart rate sky high after coming out of the water. And it ended up being a non-wetsuit swim. They had like a heat wave in the last few days. I don't know why, but in my head, like I thought for sure it's going to be a wetsuit swim. Didn't bring a swim skin, didn't have anything. I was just like,
Of course.
not mentally prepared for
Of course.
a non-wetsuit freshwater swim. I was like, oh, come on. And actually, it was funny. So the days before the race, we went out for lunch. We had to get some lobster rolls because we're in Maine, so we got it. And we're driving along, and it was like me, Philip, and David, one of our team members. And Philip saw one of the sturgeons like in the water, like come out of the water kind of thing, like pulls over, like freaks out about how big they are. And we're just like, had no idea what a sturgeon was. I'd heard about sturgeons, but I had no idea how big they actually are and what they are. And I kind of wish I didn't.
Dinosaur fish.
Water. Yeah. So it's one thing like hearing the word sturgeon and another looking and seeing what it actually is a bit intimidating.
You would have been better off not knowing.
100%. 100%.
The Mana group chat went crazy with the picture. Like it was like a full-on 2-hour conversation from everyone just talking about it.
Yeah, it did not help the nerves whatsoever. Finding out after that it was going to be non-wetsuit too. So I was like, okay, swim fast so that I'm in the group so that the sturgeons don't get me.
Given all that, you had a pretty good swim.
Yeah.
Yeah, survived it. That was good. I don't think it was funny looking at David's times over the years. He's gone anywhere from 19 minutes to 32 minutes in the swim, depending on kind of where the current is and how crazy it is.
How much rain they get. Like 2 years ago, I think when Trevor won it the first time, it was one of those like 17, 19-minute years. And it was like back to back. He had done Oregon in that. And he was like, I think he had like a total of like less than 40 minutes swim time in 2 races. And then last year when I did it as a relay team, it had not rained as much, and all of the times kind of dropped. Like even the pros were like now in like the low 20s and stuff. So, yeah, it all depends on the water flow, the ice melt, and is most of the water already off the mountains and down and stuff like that. So yeah, you can definitely change times. Oregon though, I don't think it changes much.
Yeah.
It's so my swim time of 21:30 was still like 450th overall or something like that.
That's crazy. Yeah. It is definitely fun to have a different experience where you are towards the front. Like I went faster in kind of the swim group than I would be kind of thing. So you got some clear space. And I think this is one of the few races I've done where it was a single loop on the bike. So it was really nice not having to like deal with people at the back of the pack passing in the second loop in there. You could just kind of do your own thing once you got some clear spaces. Riding on my own for most of it. A lot of guys riding harder up the hills, and they'd pass me, and then we go down the hills and on the flat, and I'd pass them, and back and forth. But like, I'm just gonna save my energy on the hills. But that ended up being like 4,000 feet of climbing. That was
it's crazy hard ride.
More than I thought. Yeah, because they say it's kind of rolling. And the course map was wrong on the elevation and stuff, apparently. So they finally updated it to what it actually is. But I like courses like that, though, because it's not like there's no big extended climbs where you're really crushing yourself. It's always kind of up and down, but nothing where you're out of the saddle for long, no steep climbs. But I will say I did not think I was having a great day because that took me way longer than I ever thought it would. Normalized power is pretty low. I don't think I was quite primed for 70.3 paces with the training the last little while, but
you probably had a bit of a headwind coming back too. Usually it's like north to south and you're going north.
See, it felt like we had a headwind both ways.
One of those as it shifts throughout the day, yeah.
Because David's like, on the way back, you'll get a tailwind and fly in. And I'm going back and I'm putting out the power, like going downhill a little bit. And I'm at 20 miles per hour. I'm like, this is not a tailwind. That's not at all. Yeah, no, it's good.
It's also tough on the bottom of that course, too, where you like figure like, oh, I might be able to get some speed here. And then it's like downhill, hard right, hard left. And if you look at the map, it's got like these 2 feet at the bottom of it too.
Yeah.
And those are the spots where you could actually be going fast, but nope, got to turn.
That was exactly it a couple of times. And I'm glad I don't usually remember to, but I actually put the course on my watch this time. So I knew kind of when the turns were coming, and that definitely helped get a bit more speed. So at least you could like brake later, or brake harder because you knew it was coming up or plan for it. So that was good. And then off onto, the bike time. I was just like, oh, it's not a great day out. Got onto the run and things felt decently solid. I had like this quad cramp going on throughout the bike where I felt like anytime I tried to push harder, it would like start to cramp up and then it back it down. So the whole bike, it felt like I had this rev limiter on. It was like, push more. Oh, no. Okay. No. But it happened within like the first 10 miles. So it wasn't electrolytes. It wasn't, I'm almost wondering if I like overkicked with being in the freshwater swim without a wetsuit or something. Anyways, something was not moving right. So I had this quad cramp the whole time, just threatening. But
maybe we have this new Matthew Marquardt problem.
Right? Oh my goodness.
It's a spine problem.
It's probably been me not doing enough on the recovery and mobility work leading into it. So something's oddly tight in some random place and then you do an extended effort. It's like, no, like that. And then the run, kind of that same thing. I wasn't running that hard because every time I tried to push a little bit more, that quad was just like threatening. And that course, again, a lot hillier than I thought.
Yeah.
Especially late in the run.
Oh, the downhill in the last few miles. It's like you're climbing all the way up and I'm like, hey, this is hard, but it feels pretty good because my quad was
like
only
an out and back too, right?
Yeah, totally. And I could see the people coming down the other way and I'm like, okay, let's see how many people we can tick off at the back half of this run, back end of this run. Just like let it fly down the hill. My quad was just pissed. It's like, okay, we're almost there. Just gonna push through it and get it done. So definitely some more sore legs than I usually feel after 70.3 on that one, especially the quad that was cramping. It's just like cranky now. But the one thing was, even with kind of the energy, I felt so good during the run on the bike. I took way more carbs than I've ever taken in a race,
Nice.
kind of the same setup as I did in Taiwan. And God, it's just crazy the difference. Like, I think it was at 110 per hour on the bike and then over 80 per hour on the run, which I've never come close to that, right? But it's just like, it is shocking the difference in how you feel. And I think I had like pretty even splits first half to second half kind of thing. So it was just a matter of like, wasn't slowing down. The energy was there. I couldn't push any harder because my quad would start to get pissed off. But yeah, no bonking or anything. So I did a post about it on social media and stuff. If you're still in that old school mindset where like the body can only take 60 grams of carb an hour on the bike, you can't absorb more. That's not true these days with the nutrition we have, with the different fueling sources between glucose and fructose. There are different pathways to absorb it. And now on the run, they're saying like 80 to 100 grams an hour. And yeah, definitely tested that out. And it's crazy. Like, it makes an absolutely massive difference.
Especially early on in the run, if you're coming off a hard bike. Like, that's what I figured too. I had 90 grams in my soft flask with 1600 sodium to start the run. I had the same thing on the bike too. Like, I had everything overloaded, over concentrated, and I would just grab water to wash it down at the aid stations. And if, like your post said, if you train it to get there, it's going to make a huge difference on race day.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, there's the physical aspects, but just the mental side of it too. Because if your brain starts to get low on glucose, that's the first thing where you start to spiral.
Absolutely. It's always a good indicator how the mind starts telling you to stop or to slow down. That, for me, I don't know for you guys, but for me, it's a good indicator that I'm usually low on glycogen and I need to top it off. But I was just thinking, like, imagine when you did your first try. Like, I think the first time I did an Olympic distance, I think I took like 50 grams of carbs on the bike and like one gel on the run. And of course, I was miserable. And I thought it was my body breaking down and just feeling tired. But it's amazing how sometimes we overlook the nutrition element and how much of a difference like an increase in 20 grams per hour can make. And people are like, oh, it's just 20 grams, but it does make the difference.
Totally.
I think even before the race too, like with these longer swim walk starts, it was, for me, I knew I needed to have another bottle for that other 30, 40 minutes that normally you're in transition, you can get down a little bit more. And then, so I took, and we could carry our morning bags with us. So I had my cane shoes on, I had a hooded sweatshirt on, I had my wetsuit halfway down, and I had a bottle with me. And that was another carb, sodium, and I had the one calf gel to pop in a ketone. So like, I was still fueling on my way to the swim in one of these point-to-point swims. That's something to consider as well, where you're not just going right to it and coming back to your bike in the next 20, 30 minutes. So I think that was another thing. I did want to mention too, like, when you talk about having the community around you and having David show you around and how important that was. And I can picture all the places he was taking you after being there last year. I was like, I know exactly where you were in the restaurants and all that little downtown area where you can see the water and the fish jumping right there. I was like, I know exactly where all the brick buildings. And I had that same experience in Oregon too, whereas there was another athletic brewing ambassador who I had met, who was a friend online, but we had met once in person, and he's the guy who started the Aero Dorks, which has kind of become this like meme social media triathlon community up in Oregon. And they're growing, and he had a huge team. It was their local race. He and I had messaged that I was coming out Wednesday. I got there and he's like, hey, I'm going to go down to the swim course, see if anyone's going to do the walk. Like, you don't want to do this swim unless you have somebody to go down with. Like, you're not just going to jump in the water with your stuff. So he's like, if there's nobody here, I'll message you. And I ended up getting to do the swim with somebody who had done the race every year and knew the course. And then he showed me around, introduced me to the PT that's on his community team. So I ended up getting stretched out on 2 days before the race and like had all these different, and then they're also a partner with the local bike shop. So it was being a part of a community is such a huge factor, as we know, within Mana, but don't be afraid of reaching out to the local communities at the races that you're going to too, especially when you're traveling so far, because as we all know, this community is very welcoming if you just ask the right questions.
It's the best. No, it's really, really great. And so at the award ceremony, we had the Mana tent set up from the expo and stuff. We took all the Mana stuff down, but we were all hanging out in the tent, and everyone in the team ended up doing really well. I ended up on the podium in third and got that knee spot. I didn't find out I was on the podium until like an hour and a half after the race, and I got to my phone because I'm like, that bike ride was just not great. So there's no chance on it kind of thing. But turns out the bike was hard for everyone. So got that. But we were all kind of hanging out of the tent to the point where they kept calling up people for the awards and stuff. And with the age graded, I was 18th. So I knew for sure I've got the knee spot and good there. But so many of our team members that were with us ended up qualifying for Nice that the announcers started going like, this is the lucky tent over here, because every like third or fourth person were like screaming and cheering and stuff. And he's like, holy smokes, if you want to go to Nice, just head over there. You're definitely going to get in. So
that's awesome.
It just brings up the energy when you have that support, and like we all kind of do well and cheer each other on. And it's just fun. The amount of like high fives on the race course too, with a couple like the out and backs on the run, it was like a bunch of high fives from team members going back and forth. And every time that just gives you a bit of a boost, right? Like takes you out of your own head, and you're just like, okay, this is what it's about. We're all here together, just suffering and doing this for fun. We're all crazy enough to think this is a fun way to spend Sunday.
So speaking of kudos and high fives, I tend to try and be somebody as I pass somebody or see somebody on the course struggling to say something. And I was in such a zone on my run in Oregon. I was saying it and doing it and don't remember all of them, but you know how you can use like Strava Messenger now. And 6 days after the race, I noticed I had a message and I was like, oh, let me check it. And I just posted it on my story last night. And this guy had reached out to me who I guess found me on Strava after seeing the race results and saw my bib number when I went by him and had told him to keep going, look good. And it probably within a mile or two of the finish, maybe in even the last K, he finished 4:29.25 and his goal was sub 4:30. But apparently when I passed him, he was not going to make sub 4:30. And I said something that gave him that like little push to overcome it. And he's like, without you, I wouldn't have hit my goal, even though he went faster than me. I finished before him. But I had passed him at the end. Like I said, a lot of people were bonking on that course, just weren't ready for the humidity and stuff. But yeah, that was a really neat message to get. Like, just kind of cool, like the impact you can have on somebody you don't know. And just, yeah, we're all in our race mode and race zone. But if you are passing somebody that looks like they're struggling, just give them a little tap or say something, because you never know what it can do for them.
Yeah, it's funny. I had something similar out there, but I was the person on the back. This guy like ran past me, didn't say anything, but he was going like just a little bit faster than what my legs wanted to do. And I was just like, kind of mindset, okay, stick onto his back, just hang onto his back kind of thing. There's a little bit of a headwind, and it's like, okay, and I like yell out to him like, hey, do you mind if I just like stick to your feet? Like, no, cool. So I'm thinking if someone you don't know, it could be annoying to have someone like breathing down your neck kind of thing. It's like, no, it's cool. So stuck to him for the last half the run, and afterwards, fist bump, like, hey, thanks for the help and stuff and chat and that. So it's kind of, you really can't have an effect on people out there, just helping their race. And it's cool when it's not a get the hell off me, like leave me alone kind of thing. Yeah. Cool. Yeah. Tack on, let's go.
Yeah, and I got super lucky. I had run into Chris Rodriguez. This is kind of like a triathlete influencer. And he and I did a shakeout swim together with Angel from Team Mana. And he was part of the Ironman Foundation team. So he had like the low bibs, early start, all that. And I guess they had given his girlfriend some social media access. So she was actually able to get down to the swim start, which no fans were allowed. But I knew he was on the course ahead of me, and he and I had some pretty similar training. So I was hoping I'd see him on the bike and never did, but caught him with just over a mile to go on the run. And I could see he was struggling. And that I knew, I remember saying something to him. I was like, come on, man, we can do this last mile together. Well, we were close enough when I got to the finish that his girlfriend was videoing pretty much anyone coming, just in case he was going to be in the background. So that's where that amazing finish line video that I got came from, was his girlfriend filming. And sure enough, he finished and my name was still on the board in his video. So it really, I was like, kudos to, so if you know somebody on the course and they've got video people out there, go hard, finish strong,
There you go.
and reach out. So yeah, he cleaned up that video. So C-Rod, thanks, bud. It was, he's going after his Kona slot in Arizona. So it seems like everyone is doing Arizona. I don't know about you guys, but everyone I talked to is going to Arizona this year. Pros, amateurs, everything.
Well, let's jump into some of the pro racing. We've definitely had fun chatting about some of the races. And if you are looking to do 70.3 Maine or Oregon, that's a bit of a good rundown of what to expect out there.
Yeah, for sure.
We had some pro racing going on with, let's start off with Josh up in Canada, because we had SuperTri going on. You're in Canada, I'm down in Maine. We're all mixed up, but it sounds like it was a pretty incredible event. And do you want to give us a little bit of a rundown what happened with what format they started with? Because it's a little different this time.
Yeah, so the last couple seasons, it's been the SuperTri format, the enduro, which is swim, bike, run 3 times continuously. But because of the layout of the Toronto course, being a bridge over a highway to get from the swim to the transition area, they had decided to do a swim, bike, run eliminator format. So swim, bike, run with a 1K run at the end of the first 2 segments, and the regular bike, the regular swim, 300, 4K on the bike, 1K run, and then a 6-minute break in between, with the last 2 finishers of that first segment being automatically eliminated. Times accumulating going forward for the third phase. The second phase, same thing, do it again, 2 people eliminated, 6-minute break, and then the third leg would start based on your accumulated time and difference. So pursuit style start. And I think it was in the female field, you're still talking about from the top spot to the back, you were probably talking about 35, 40 seconds. But at the same time, if anyone was more than 90 seconds back at that point, they would have been eliminated as well, too. So
Yeah, Tomo hanging up that flag right in their face.
Tomo was ready to go. Tomo also was wearing these really cool video recording glasses, too. So I'm assuming there's some really neat content to come from that. Yeah, he was, I actually saw him put on these. I was like, why did you just switch out his sunglasses? Oh yeah, I forgot we had some of those, video sunglasses. So he's like, apparently my commentary might come in on some of these too. So he's like,
Yes.
yeah. But it was a really good, hard first swim. And it was interesting because that first leg, GTB was last out of the water. Cassandra was last off the bike, and both of them had to work their way up because they didn't want to be eliminated in the first round either. And we're just kind of going through the motions, getting back into racing at that pace. Like, you can train all you want for triathlon, but training for SuperTri is a little different. And now your transitions, like, they have to be dialed. And if you lose 5 seconds, you lose the group. And with the short factor of how short the actual bike legs are, you could be done. And if you're just detached from that early on, you don't have a chance to catch back up to the group. So really good first leg by Jolene Vermeulen out of Belgium, who's been around triathlon for a while but hadn't really done SuperTri before. And she jumped in and took the first leg. And I was like, well, did she overdo herself? And then the second leg, there she was again, 3rd, 4th, 5th, somewhere in there. So not too far back, but Cass had shown up and took the win in leg 2. And I was like, all right, well, Olympic champ's ready to go again. Yeah. And Leonie Perrault was right there with her, and Emma Lombardi and GTB. It kind of seemed like it was going to be one of the 5 of them to take it in the third leg. And again, first race of the season, and the newer format, return to format, some people kind of forgot what was going to happen in that final leg. And there was the short shoot, and Team Brownlee literally won all 3 short shoot options, swim, bike, and run, in that first leg. So Jolene was chosen by Tim Don. I mean, he made that call early, where people are like, nobody had guessed that he was going to take Jolene, right? And she got the short shoot, and Cassandra had to go around, and they immediately started the second lap of the 2K final run together. and Jolene immediately went in front of her, and I was like, "What's going on with Cass? Like the best runner in the sport, especially when it comes to finishing a race." Well, apparently Cass forgot it was a 2K run, and she had gone out so hard in the first K.
Fast, the first K.
I mean, they were cooking. I looked at some of the times. I know I saw some of the men's times were like low 2-minute Ks, like 2:14, 2:15, 2:16 Ks. And yeah, so Cass kind of lost touch of Jolene and ended up finishing third with Leonie Perot in second. But a really great opening race to the season. The crowd was packed. It was kind of started at 2:00 in the female race, but packet pickup and all that stuff was going on. The expo was open in the background, so everyone coming to get their registration stuff handled for the following day's race were there, and then that started to build in a crowd, and then people were telling people about it and getting other friends down there. So it was just a really neat venue for the race and a perfect way to start the season. And the ladies delivered. You could see some of them were pretty taxed. And then there was about a 15-20 minute break to do the awards and champagne, and the guys were ready to go, and they were already down on the swim and across the bridge. And unfortunately, our legend of the game, Johnny Brownlee, had some issues with those transitions like we talked about. I think he was they had to put their shoes on. Tomo made them put their shoes on before they left. As they left the water, they had to put shoes on to go over these wooden bridges and to transition because it was that long of a run. It took him like 5 seconds to get his shoes on out of the water. So he lost touch there. And then at the end of the bike leg, some of them decided to get off their bikes before making a turn. Some of them decided to ride around. Johnny decided or didn't decide what to do and ended up like dragging his bike around and was like dead last going into the run and never could catch up. Like I said, if you lose touch on the bike, you're going to be eliminated in this format. And unfortunately, Johnny Brownlee was eliminated in the first round. But Alex Yu was kind of right there. Vasco was right there. And Shongar was there. And Lehman, man, he's quite an athlete that I had not known much about, but have done some research on and is certainly a player to come in the world triathlon scene going forward. And I think he's going to be somebody to reckon with in SuperTri because he kind of hung there with Alex for most of the race. And going into that third leg, Alex had the pursuit lead start, and it was Shongar, Vasco right there on his heels, and Alex had the short shoot, and that was and Shongar Lehman had the short shoot, and again Vasco was right there with them. But I think if he had realized there was the short shoot coming, he's like, I knew I didn't have the short shoot, but then he forgot to think that maybe the two guys in front of him had it. He would have tried to gap them a little bit going into it, and he lost touch and couldn't catch up. And Alex is definitely in run shape, that's for sure, because as soon as that second K started, he just opened it up. And if you watch this, and I recommend watching it on YouTube to everyone, anytime there's a SuperTri, they're just really fun coverage of the race. And Will McCloy and Annie Emerson do a great job announcing, and you get some live interviews of the racers and the coaches. You watch the rest of the racers, and they are struggling. From like leg one, Alex Yi's facial expression didn't change the entire time. It's like he's out for a freaking zone 2, zone 3 stroll, and we know he's working, but it doesn't show. And he even said in an interview afterwards, like, look, you can't be going 110% because that's where things and mistakes happen in transitions. And like, if you're at 90%, even if you take an extra second, it's not going to cost you 4 or 5 and cost you the race. So you can see that mentality and knowledge and veteran aspect of it really come through. And I don't know if he's going to be doing any more SuperTri races this year just because of his schedule. He's going back into a marathon block. So we'll see where he ends up the rest of the year. But yeah, great opening. Toronto's amazing. Awesome city, great venue. It was an awesome age group racing the next day. The Brownlee team came down and handed out medals at the Sprint and Olympic triathlon race, and they handed out the awards to some of the winners of the overall races too. So really neat to be around that experience and obviously have a little bit of a all access opportunity for the podcast to do some behind the scenes type work.
No, it's fantastic. It's always so much fun racing to watch, and it'll be interesting to see how the rest of the season goes with everyone off kind of the Olympic track right now. A lot of athletes are doing 70.3 SuperTri T100, so we're going to have some different faces and names lining up at the SuperTri events because, yeah, it seems that all bets are off for expectations of where these athletes are racing, and they're just having some fun before they have to start collecting points for that Olympic cycle again.
Yeah, there's definitely going to be some up and coming names, which is good for the sport, right? I mean, let's get some new names in this and the Reese Vandersons of the world. Who other Reese Vandersons are out there? And John Reed, I mean, had a great performance for podium racing, and Roberto Gonzalez, I mean, another one like not a lot of people know, and the kid was right there and had some issues that might have made a difference. And now, like, hey, anybody who's finishing 4th and 5th is now in this race and season series going forward. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see who does show up at these races. Chicago, and then Toulouse and Jersey. 3 big races still to come, but hopefully we can get some names and introduce some people to the world of triathlon that we haven't heard from.
That'd be great. Yeah, and then also this weekend we had some Ironman and 70.3 racing going on. We'll kind of do a quick overview on those because they weren't part of the pro series here, but there are definitely some interesting performances, starting with Ironman Leeds. Fede, do you want to tell us who took the win in podiums there?
Yeah, that was, I mean, we were talking about, I think a couple of weeks ago about what was happening with the Sam Laidlow situation and the whole thing, and if they were going to give him a slot or if he needed to validate. And then he went to Leeds and led the race from start to finish, and he took the win in 8:10, which speaks about Leeds and how hilly that course is, which, I mean, just incredible. And he ran a 2:41 and he looked good, like in control the whole time. So kudos to Sam for validating and for winning. Seems like he's in good spirits and in a good mental space. So really happy for him. Another guy from France, Nathan Gruber, in second place, and Harry Palmer in third place. So a Brit in third, and that was like he has a really good YouTube channel. So if you are not following him, go ahead and watch him. He's very open about everything. So he was an age grouper. So the fact that he's competing against the likes of Laidlow, and I mean, he was 18 minutes behind Sam. So that doesn't say a lot about like toe to toe, but it's cool to see like a former age grouper now racing pro. And just the level that Sam Laidlow is at the moment, just incredible. So yeah, I don't know what you guys thought about this race. And
Kieran Landers too, right? He punched his ticket in 4th. Yeah, I think it rolled down Landers, to him too. Place. So he's been chasing that Kona or that Nice qualification for a while. So he got it.
Yeah, no, Correct. It's interesting with Sam Laidlow. He kind of, is on the down and outs, an incredible performance at Roth, and then another great performance here at Leeds. Although you got to kind of, wasn't the deepest field that we're ever seen in there, but to have that much of a time gap, he's definitely on form and fit. Now, the question is, 3 Ironmans in a short period of time, how's that going to line up for Nice? I'm doubting he went full gas at Leeds with that kind of gap, but still, 3 Ironmans is a fair bit. What do you guys think that means for him for Nice?
I don't think we can ever doubt him out on that course or in any Ironman he shows up to the start line in, because we thought he was going to validate and get around, and he ran away with it. Like on a tough course, a 2:41 marathon. I think it was bike was like 4:30. Like when does Sam Laidlow do a 4:30 bike and then win by 14 minutes? So I think Ironman is going to be looking at Leeds as like a course to be used in the future too. It's like you want to talk about a challenging effort.
Make it hard, and there's no course like that. You're just it is a solo effort.
Yeah. So I still think he's got to be one of the favorites, no matter what, going into Nice. Like the fact that he was able to show up to Roth, I think Leeds we can push aside, like that results, whatever. Yeah. He got his job done. But what he did at Roth, I think, is a huge implication to what he can do at Nice.
Yeah.
he does not have a season of racing on him and a lot of hard training. So I think that will impact the ability to recover going into and train again for Nice too. I could be wrong. We don't know with his health and the ability to get back, and I would not rule him out. I think he's going to be right up there in all the conversations with KB.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
I would agree. I think right now Sam is racing himself into fitness. I think he's using these A races or like high caliber races like Roth and like challenging courses like Leeds to to train himself into a form that he's going to be on top form at Nice. So I think, yeah, like Josh mentioned, we can't rule him out, especially on that course. And yeah, I think right now these sort of races, to me, it seems like are good for him mentally and to validate that he's fit and ready to race at Nice. So yeah, I don't think we can rule him out. Yes, 3 Ironmans are a bit of are a lot, and that means 3 marathons. So yeah, we'll see. But I think he's gonna be in top form come Nice. What do you think, Jenna?
Yeah, like you said, you can never count him out, and especially that bike course. Like that bike course makes such a big difference. It's a tough course on challenging technical hills, which we know he'll absolutely thrive on. So I'm looking forward to seeing the battle go down, and it seems like he's trusting his run a little bit more before. He's realized he doesn't absolutely have to obliterate the bike to have a shot. So I think we're going to see a lot more interesting racing come Nice time. And
I
then
think we always know the last thing with Sam too is like he's going to be front pack swim, and that's such a huge difference maker. Whereas like with KB, you don't know if he's going to make that front pack, and that's a big difference maker, I think, in the fact that he's going to be in the race.
Yeah, no, for sure. Will be good to see what goes down. And then we just want to give a quick shout out on the Ironman 70.3 boys results because in the top few, we had Sam Appleton, Jackson Longy, Justin Reale. And then we also had Matt Sharp and Jason Pohl, 2 Mana athletes, 2 Canadian Mana athletes. So I'm always happy
Facing each other too on the course.
I know. So fun. They ran their way through. So it was so good to see both of them have solid days out there and be out on the Boise course. And then on the women's side, it was Canadian domination, let's just say. At Boise. We had Paula Finley taking the win, Danielle Lewis, Jodie Stimpson, Grace Alexander, and Erica Ackerland in the top 5 there. So there was definitely, it's that North American circuit where, if Paula Finley is showing up in the North American races, she is hard to beat these days.
Yeah, and Danielle Lewis coming off of Lake Placid is like super surprising that she was able to get up to second, but you knew she was going to do her hometown race. And it was like, you want to talk about being in a good headspace? Like, I forgot about all the pain and lactate that's still trying to get out of me from Placid. I'm still going to get second.
That's the tough turnaround. And we're seeing Sam Appleton starting to like consistent results after years of him kind of, being nowhere, but he is back.
He had that race handily. Never in question on the run and coming off the bike, he kind of got away from Jackson pretty quickly. And it was Jackson, and Justin on the bike. And then Appo obviously has the better run pedigree of those 3 right now.
Yeah. It seems like Appo, it's always right there. Like he's had a long career, and it's one of those very durable athletes who always knows what he's doing, and he rarely follows trends. Like he knows what works for him, and he tweaks a few things here and there, but I like Sam because he always stays true to himself, and it shows. Like he barely breaks down, and it's always super consistent. And I like the way he races from the front and always pushing, and it's incredible to see how long of a career you can have if you play your strengths and know what you're doing. So yeah, kudos to Sam. And yeah, Paula, my God, it seems like every time there's a race in the Northern Hemisphere, it's like Paula Finley knows what she's doing. And she pulled like a laid low, like I'm just going to go ahead, race. I know I'm going to win. And it seems like these type of athletes have like a second gear. Like, okay, my cruise control, I know I'm going to win. But if I'm willing to go deep, that's my world championship type of pace and fitness and level, which it's incredible to see.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, guys, I think that'll wrap us up for this week here. Before we go, though, I just wanted to mention if you have qualified for the Ironman or 70.3 World Championships this year, head on over to the Mana Apparel account. They've got a special gift for qualifiers. You just have to let them know where you qualified and they'll check into it. But definitely head over to the link in the bio at the Mana Apparel account and go kind of claim your prize there. But on that, until next week, we will be back to chat more about everything going on in the triathlon world as we head into some more racing from super sprints up to Ironman these days. We're in the action before World Championship season starts. But as always, thank you so much for joining me, guys.
Thank you,
Thanks.
guys.
Have a good one, guys.